Now the UK is threatening Roman Abramovich over money meant for Ukraine. A football deal worth billions has turned into a global political fight. Here is the report.
This story begins in March 2022. As Russian forces advanced into Ukraine, Roman Abramovich announced he was selling Chelsea Football Club. At the same time, he made a pledge that quickly traveled around the world. The net proceeds from the sale would go to victims of the war. 2 months later, Chelsea was sold to a Todd Boehly-led consortium for roughly £2.5 billion. To the public, the story seemed simple. Club sold, money donated. Humanitarian relief follows. But that is not what happened. And to understand why, you have to follow the money.
And can we talk about Roman Abramovich? Because if he doesn't meet the 90-day deadline, how quickly can the government take action?
Well, I would urge Roman Abramovich to do the right thing. For 3 years now, that money has sat in a bank account. It is frozen. He is not able to use it. And yet he promised that it would go to support victims of the Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine. And we are determined that the money goes to do exactly that. And if he doesn't respond within the next 90 days, we will go to court, we will get this money, and it will go to Ukraine.
Do you know where he lives now?
Well, you suggested I pop round and ask him. Look, we've been working closely with his team to try and get him to do the right thing. We don't want to have to go to court, but we are absolutely determined to do so if he doesn't hand over that money and hand over it soon.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Instead of going to Ukraine, the sale proceeds were paid into a UK-registered company linked to Abramovich called Fordstam Ltd. From that moment, the money stopped moving. Not why. Because Fordstam was not just holding cash, it was carrying debt. Around £1.5 billion was owed to a parent company in Jersey called Camberley International Investments. And just 1 month after Abramovich made his pledge, Jersey authorities froze billions of pounds of his assets and opened a criminal investigation. That single action changed everything. The Chelsea money was now caught between sanctions, frozen assets, and unresolved legal disputes. And this is where the definitions began to matter. Abramovich promised the net proceeds would be donated. His lawyers argue that net means after debts, liabilities, and legal disputes are settled, including the Camberley loan and the Jersey freeze. The UK government argues something very different. They say the moral and political commitment was clear. The money was promised because of the war, and it should go to Ukraine. For more than 3 years, that disagreement stalled everything. Until now. This week, Sir Keir Starmer ended the stalemate. Speaking in the House of Commons, he said,
"My message to Abramovich is this: the clock is ticking. Honour the commitment that you made and pay up now. And if you don't, we're prepared to go to court so every penny reaches those whose lives have been torn apart by Putin's illegal war."
For the first time, the government has issued a formal license allowing the funds to be transferred specifically to humanitarian causes in Ukraine. This is no longer negotiation. It is an ultimatum. Previous governance avoided this moment. Behind the scenes, officials feared that forcing the transfer could damage Britain's reputation as a stable financial center. One former official described it as a nuclear option. Starmer's government appears willing to take that risk. Their argument is precise. They are not seizing the money. They are enabling a promise Abramovich already made. If he refuses Humanitarian to court, that would turn this from a political dispute into a legal test case. Sources close to Abramovich say he is unlikely to comply. His legal team believes the Jersey asset freeze, the unresolved investigation, and the Camberley loan give him strong grounds to resist any forced transfer. They also point to the wording of the original pledge, that the funds should help all victims of the war, not only Ukraine. That disagreement is now central, and it is why this case could drag on unless one side backs down. This is not just about a football club. Across Europe, hundreds of billions in Russian-linked assets remain frozen. Governments want to use that money to support Ukraine but fear legal chaos if they move too fast. If Britain succeeds here, it sets a precedent. If it fails, it strengthens resistance across the continent. That makes this £2.5 billion more than money. It makes it a test. While governments argue and lawyers prepare, the reality in Ukraine has not paused. Hospitals operate under power cuts. Families rebuild homes with limited aid. Humanitarian organizations work with budgets measured in millions. This fund could operate at a scale rarely seen. Instead, it remains frozen. 3 years ago, a promise was made in the middle of a war. Tonight, the British Prime Minister says that promise must finally be honored or enforced. Roman Abramovich now faces a choice. Release the money voluntarily or fight the government in court. Either way, the clock is ticking. There is an old puzzle about a locked well in a burning village. Everyone agrees the water belongs to the people who are on fire. The owner says he has promised it. The lawyers say the lock must be respected. The authorities say they will break the lock if they must. And while they argue over who has the right to open it, the flames keep spreading. So here is the question. When money is promised in public, frozen by law, and needed in a war, who should decide when it finally moves? The courts, the government, or the person who made the promise? And if that promise is never honored, who should be held responsible?